as a specialty, those of us that do a fairly high volume of genital gender affirming surgery, we've maybe done a handful of pubertally suppressed adolescents as a field, and no one's published on it yet. We're just putting our first series together as we're kind of learning and figuring out what works.
Did he just say we're just playing around with things to figure out what works? This is nightmare world.
You mentioned, and this had not occurred to me until I spoke with you, that there's, demographic change in our patients and how our TGNC patients are younger and they may have undergone pubertal suppression and how that affects the skin available for a more traditional penile inversion of.
Okay, this is an important part. I'm glad we didn't stop it.
Well, this is just crazy. It's like, we've got a baby penis here. How am I supposed to make a vagina out of this baby penis?
Right.
This is so horrific.
Yep. It's
horrific.
A demographic change. You have to use the correct language. It's a demographic change. Okay.
Yeah. Just to sanitize it. I don't think this should be sanitized.
No.
This is disgusting shit.
Bunch of young kids coming in.
Right. Haven't even been through
blockers,
puberty. Yeah. God, can you imagine? Oh my God.
Vaginoplasty. Could you share a little bit about how that has shifted your practice?
Yeah, definitely. You made a comment about sort of the demographic shifting. I would just say they're expanding in either direction. So yeah, a lot of adolescents
this is what we
presenting for surgical intervention, but also a lot of people that are like in their 70s sometimes coming in for genital surgery, and then everything in between. But the adolescents for sure present some unique challenges. Obviously, there's great evidence supporting pubertal suppression for a whole variety of benefits. But the one thing that is very new is genital surgery in someone that has underwent pubertal suppression. Not so much an issue in someone with assigned female at birth anatomy that undergoes a phalloplasty, because we're creating something with a free tissue transfer or a flap anyway. But a much bigger issue for an individual that's undergoing a penile inversion vaginoplasty. Because we use all of that tissue to basically create the vulva as well as line the internal vaginal canal. And as a specialty, those of us that do a fairly high volume of genital gender affirming surgery, we've maybe done a handful of pubertally suppressed adolescents as a field, and no one's published on it yet. We're just putting our first series together as we're kind of learning and figuring out what works. But it's really changing things because you don't have enough tissue to line the vaginal canal. So you either...
Did he just say we're just playing around with things to figure out what works? Isn't that exactly the thing that you want to hear right before you go into surgery? Oh, don't worry. We'll just figure it out.
Pubertally suppressed adolescents as a field, and no one's published on it yet. We're just putting our first series together as we're kind of learning and figuring out what works. But it's really changing things.
We're just figuring out what works.
Yeah, you're in the first series.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's what you want to hear, right? Like, oh, by the way, like this is all experimental. You're in a brave new world here. Okay.
Well,
boldly go where no one is going to before.
I don't see how that doesn't scream this is experimental surgery.
Well, it is, obviously.
Yeah. We're learning and figuring out what works on your fucking genitals.
It's terrible.
It's
terrible.
This is nightmare world.
Yeah.
Look, and the Democrats are just like, look, you got to let Dr. Doom here figure out what works, okay? These kids could commit suicide. They're practically dead already. Oh, this is disgusting. This is disgusting, Sitch. Oh my God.
See, look, the Republicans, they didn't need to do, all they need to do was just play this video and sit back. Like, they didn't actually have to do that here. They just play this video and then lean back in the chair and be like, yep.
Yeah.
How you feel about this, America?
Because you don't have enough tissue to line the vaginal canal. So you either have to take a skin graft or take skin from elsewhere or use some artificial product.
You just get in there and wherever you feel like cutting, you just start cutting away. Oh my God.
The way that we're dealing with it is by using a robot, and we're basically performing intra-abdominal components of the surgery. So we're using peritoneum, which is the inner lining of the abdomen, to line most of the vaginal canal. And by doing that, that allows us to use all of the remaining tissue externally to create a vulva and try to make also an aesthetic result.
Why don't they just use like a pig vagina or something? Right? Just use a pig vagina. That would work.
God. You're fucking a pig vagina.
Here's a
That's
question.
like, how is that not bestiality, Sitch?
Here's a question. I mean, I don't think it'd be bestiality. But,
Really? I mean, it's borderline.
if you go down on a woman
With
that
a pig, that has a pig vagina.
that has a pig vagina,
Does that mean you're no longer a vegan?
is that kosher?
Oh my God. Oh, they use fetal.
I know they use pig hearts, don't they? Like,
yeah, all
like
the
valves
time.
for heart surgery. That's why I said, yeah, you might as well just use a pig vagina.
They give you the choice. They say,
Yeah.
listen, you want the fetal pig or do you want the mechanical?
I mean, there's got to be a reason people choose the pig, right?
They give pros
Is it a
and
fetal
cons.
pig or
Yeah.
is it? Is it a fetal pig or is
No,
it just
I
an
think it's a
adult
pig. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm
We
saying I
had-
don't think it's like a baby pig.
What I had a friend that actually had this operation.
Mm-hmm.
He did. He wrote a story about it and put it up in the writers' lab, and it was fucking crazy. I'm like, holy shit!
About he got the pig aorta or whatever it is.
Yeah, he had
valve or whatever.
he had a heart attack.
Mhm.
I think in his late 50s, and they're like, yeah, well, it's like your heart is about to collapse. We need to do an
God.
operation immediately.
Mhm.
And he had he's all dazed and drugged out, and they are like telling him that he needs to make this decision between the artificial valve or the pig valve.
Jeez.
And he's like, I
don't
went with the
fucking know.
pig, but I was so drugged up, I really didn't know what I was
Right.
agreeing to.
right.
Yeah,
What's the difference?
I don't remember.
So what happened?
He's
Yeah, is he-
he's lived.
he's
He
fine?
was fine. He, wrote this story for our writers lab that just made me think, wow, reality is crazy. It's the kind of story that I was, oh my God. You hear, thankfully, I've never had any sort of medical catastrophe happen.
Right.
But,
Good.
I mean, the shit that they can do now. My cousin literally had to have brain surgery where he had to be alive. He had to be awake during the brain surgery to talk to the doctor as they're working on him.
That's crazy.
I think I told you about this before.
You did, yeah, you did.
They took his skull cap and they put it in his guts, so the
Yeah, you
skull
told me
cap
it's
would
so
stay
horrifying.
alive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so horrific.
Yeah. So then when he went to get his skull cap put back on, they took it out of his guts,
That's so insane.
put it back
Oh
on
my
the
God.
top of his head.
That's the most fucking bizarre shit I've ever
This is the
heard.
kind of shit Blair Peters is. Look, these doctors are fucking monsters, Sitch.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but I assume
They live for this shit.
Did your cousin was at work?
Oh yeah, he's fine. He's great.
Oh,
I
so-
hung out with him.
That's
Yeah, I hung
great,
out with
I
him
guess.
recently.
Okay.
But this is the thing. I look back at that and I think, oh my God, the things humans go through to survive. It's fascinating.
So apparently it said, according to some random website, that the main difference between the pig or cow valve versus mechanical valve,
Mhm.
he said that the mechanical valve generally will last forever,
Mhm.
while the pig and the cow valve can wear out and have to actually be replaced. However, it doesn't require anticoagulation medication.
Right. That was the decision. That's the trade-off. Do you want to take drugs for the rest of your life, or do you want to just, it may wear out?
Right.
And I
so-
think older people are like, look, I'm not going to live to be, like the thing lasts 30 years. I'm not going to live to be like 110.
Yeah, but if your friend was 50, maybe you should have gone with a mechanical valve.
Look, he was drugged up at the time. He didn't want
I
to
know,
take
I
He didn't
know.
want to take any more drugs.
Yeah, I understand. So
Daily medication is not. Look, I take vitamins every day, so
No,
I mean-
loss. I mean, you don't want to be on anticoagulants if you don't have to be, obviously.
Oh yeah, there are other problems with that.
Yes.
You cut yourself and you bleed to death.
Well, I mean, you have internal problems and there's other health risks. Related to that. But.
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.